some noise for your host, Mighty Joe W. What's up, everybody? It is the Mighty Joe W, and I am trying to stay warm because it is snowing. It looks like Christmas time out right now, and I'm in Texas. I'm in the Dallas area, and this is Friday as I'm recording this because I'm supposed to be going out of town for my father's 60th birthday celebration, and it's not looking like this because I'll be able to go because the later that it gets, the more it's snowing. It's supposed to be ice hitting us. They're shutting down highways. What the heezy is going on? It feels like I'm back in Chicago. I thought I left that weather, but apparently not. And the thing with Texas is that it's so rare to get snow and snowstorms that the city, especially the further south you go, like in San Antonio, the worse it is, they shut everything down. They shut the city down because it's so rare that the city's not really equipped and built to deal with this. They don't have all of the personnel, snow plows and salt machines and everything, just like in the north or the Midwest, because it's rare. So I don't really know what's going to happen this weekend. They shut down schools and everything on Monday and Tuesday, and it looks like everything will be shut down this weekend. So I'm going to have to jump on Skype more than likely to tell my dad happy birthday, and hopefully it's all still fun, this messed up weather. But that's all good. It takes me back. It takes me back to the Chicago area, and I remember I remember one time when, okay, for anything to get canceled, it has to be bad in Chicago. I'm talking, dude, it's got to be bad. They don't cancel school. They don't cancel nothing. And I remember one time we were literally snowed in. We couldn't open our front door because we were snowed in. And so school was canceled. So it was very exciting at first. Like, yes, we don't have to go to school finally. We ain't got to go outside and have the wind and the snow feeling like it's cutting my face. Had to put all that Vaseline on to try to stop the wind, and scarves and earmuffs and hats and long underwear. And like, yes, we get to stay inside. So it was really cool at first. And then reality set in. We don't have any power. It's cold in this crib. I don't care how many pairs of clothes and blankets I got around me, I'm cold. And then our food in the fridge and the freezer. How long is this power going to be out? Because that's all the food we have. This ain't cool. Kind of wish the weather was better so we could go back to school and everything go back to normal. So right now, I'm not dealing with that. I'm nice and warm, but it took me back. And those used to be good times too, like winter break. Not having those go to school for a couple weeks and hoping I get a new game or system or something for Christmas. And if I do, just being able to play. Like I remember when I was in high school. Let's go back. Let's go back to my freshman or sophomore year, '04, when Grand Theft Auto San Andreas was new, and that was a big thing. And I did have to go to basketball practice that year over the break, a few days, and I remember one of my buddies on the team also had San Andreas, and it was really big. It was huge. I mean, kind of like GTA 5 was a couple years ago. So I remember every time I used to get to practice, that used to be the first thing he'll talk about. And he would always try to tell me what happened. I'm like, wait, I'm not there yet. You're ahead of me. So I would get home like, man, I need to play because I know he gonna spoil something. And another quick story about basketball. I miss those days. I remember on our games on Saturday, we used to always go to Mr. Gaddy's after the game. And that's like a Dave and Buster's main event type of place with a bunch of arcades and pizza. And we used to do Dance Dance Revolution tournaments. And I didn't play that much, but I was like the only black kid on the team. So, I had to hold it down when it came to dancing. I couldn't let anybody show me up. So I would hold my own. I was one of the best ones, but I wasn't playing on the hardest difficulty because them cats was crazy. It'll usually be somebody come in like somebody that don't look like they dance at all. Like they got black makeup on, like a trench coat or something like that. And like what are they doing here? Then they get on that Dance Dance Revolution, turn that bad boy up and kill it. And I'm sitting there like, let me shake your hand, player. You just killed that joint. So those days were fun. Those days were fun. But back to winter break, I would imagine you guys go crazy these days because we didn't have Twitch and YouTube and online gaming and all of that back then. So I was playing a lot of single player games, and that's why I still primarily do to this day. But I would imagine you guys do all kinds of stuff over the breaks and over summer. So yeah, back to Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. This is a good segue into what I want to get on today. Earlier this week, I guess last Friday, or the Friday before last, because I'm going to upload this on Monday. A lot of the talk and discussion was about the Order 1886 and if the game was too short. I have not played it yet. I didn't watch the walkthrough or anything, but I've seen different videos and articles talking about the game being too short. So I'm not talking about if the game is good or not, like the gameplay, the story, the graphics, because I just don't know. I haven't played it. But I just wanted to weigh in about the ideal length of games. And from my perspective, it's one of those things that there's not a definitive answer because every game is different. First and foremost, is the game good? Do I enjoy playing it? Is it fun? Because that's that's where it's going to start. If it is, then a game can have a longer lifespan. Then there's instances in which a game is fun, but it's just too long. So like with San Andreas, with Grand Theft Auto, and especially San Andreas and Grand Theft Auto 4, I got burned out playing both of those games, and I never finished. Man, I never finished San Andreas. I got stuck on one of those toy helicopter missions. I can't remember. It was so long ago. And GTA 4, I don't know why it felt so long. Maybe it's because I didn't connect with the characters. Maybe I didn't give it enough time. Maybe I had too much going on in other areas of my life where I just didn't feel like I had the time to devote to it. I don't know. It just felt long, and I never finished that one either. I did finish 5. I was having a lot of fun with 5, and again, I don't know if 5 was so much better than 4. I don't know, but it did feel long too. And that's the thing with open world games is that they're great because it gives you so much freedom, but because they're not linear and there's so many side missions, so many things going on with the story, so many different characters that get introduced, it can become a lot and overwhelming. Um, and I think that's kind of what happened with me with some of the GTA games. So I do feel like those games were pretty long. However, when I finished GTA 5, I did have that feeling like, dang, it's over. And that's part of that is because I just bought some of the property and businesses and I was just starting to really make money. And after the game ended, I didn't really feel like continuing to play in the single player campaign when there was really nothing else to work towards because I wanted to keep getting more money so I could buy all of the businesses. But so it depends on the game. Like a game like Fallout, you could play forever, and I wanted to, but I was playing on PS3. It was very buggy. It froze every few minutes. I didn't experience a problem for like the first half of the game, but after a while, it started to freeze. It got annoying. It got irritating. It got frustrating. And I didn't want to continue to play, but the game was so fun and I wanted to finish. So I had to save every few steps because the game kept freezing. It's a problem Bethesda has had with the PlayStation. It's a problem I've heard that Skyrim has had. I cut them some slack because their games are really fun and they're addicting, open world, massive games, but they've got to find a way to fix those bugs. I haven't played Skyrim to this day because I was afraid of that very thing, it being very buggy. And from what I've seen on the internet or what I've heard on the internet, it is buggy. So I wasn't going to pay full price. I'm going to play Skyrim at some point, but I would imagine from what I've seen and read about Skyrim, that's another game you could dump 100 hours into and then not feel too long because there's so much to do and you go at your own pace. And when you're leveling up and you find the different, going back to Fallout, you're leveling up, you're finding all kinds of different things throughout the world, and just the exploration of the freedom just feels limitless. some open world games don't really feel limitless. Like Infamous Second Son. I'm an Infamous fan. I liked one and two, but I didn't really feel propelled to explore an Infamous Second Son. It's a really good looking game. It's a fun game, great gameplay, but it didn't seem like there was much to do when just free roaming. So, yeah, I don't mean to bury Infamous because, like I said, it's a good game, but it is what it is. So now let's go to the other side of the spectrum: games that are too short. That's it's interesting because now we start getting into price when you're talking about the game's length. And if somebody's trying to charge you 60, let's say $64 once you put the tax on that bad boy. I'm not trying to play a game that's 5 hours and I didn't pay $64 on it. That's a lot of money. Speaking of, I'm trying not to I'm trying to limit how many new games that I buy in a year because it does add up quickly if you're getting all these new games. So that's just something I'm trying to work with. You know what I'm saying? I told my wife, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. Anyway, so if the game is good and you charge a full price, man, it's got to be quality. But then you don't want them just throwing in a bunch of filler stuff. Like for me, I don't like unnecessary boss battle, or not boss battles, unnecessary waves of enemies after waves of enemies, and then you finally get to another area and there's more waves of enemies. Like I love Naughty Dog's games for a lot of different reasons, but I feel like they do a great job with their pacing of giving you a section of exploration where the characters are communicating with each other. You're learning more about the characters, more about the world, and you're just kind of walking and you're seeing things and inside that game world. And there may be like Uncharted had a couple different puzzles that you had to kind of maneuver through, and the characters were talking to each other, and it's a calm, safe feeling, and you don't have all the craziness and action going on during those times. And then once you get through that section, maybe it's a cutscene or something like that, and then you'll eventually move into a scenario where you have waves of enemies and you're doing fighting and shooting and all of that, and it's all high up there, and it goes back and forth, and I feel like that keeps you fresh. And some games just it's just nonstop action and shooting and stuff, and then other games is just barely anything. Like Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls. I loved Heavy Rain, and that was one of my favorite games for a while. But it's just by design. It's not a lot of action. It's more of a interactive movie. But I definitely recommend checking out Heavy Rain because that was different than anything I played. Very emotional game. It looks great. Good game. Good game. So I don't have a definitive answer on the amount of the ideal amount of time should be spent with a game because you would think somewhere around 12 hours, but it depends on the type of game. Like if it's Fallout, if it's a game that the exploration is really fun and there's a lot to do, or like Pokemon, if you play a game like that, or RPG, well, I'll just stick to Pokemon. You're gonna spend a lot of time in it because there's so much you can do, and it takes a while to level up your Pokemon to be able to take on the Final Four, not the Final Four. Who is it? The Elite Four? See, I'm getting mixed up. March Madness is coming up. Basketball, Final Four. Let's go, Big Blue, Kentucky. Let's go. Back to Pokemon. It takes you time to build up your squad, and it's a lot you could do. So if a Pokemon game ended in 10 hours, that would be like, what's up with that player? What y'all doing, Nintendo? Game Freak, holla at your boy. Wow. So let me know your thoughts. If anybody is still with me, if I have any listeners, let me know your comments and thoughts about anything, whether it's about the snow and the weather, or it's about gaming, it's about my music, whatever, man. I'm gonna keep on keeping on with the YouTube channel. Piano tutorials as quickly as I could come up, trying to stick with one a week. The Mighty Joe Show, just letting you guys know how I'm doing. And instrumentals, I've been doing sampled instrumentals, but once I finally get some ways a site set up, a professional site where I can put all my original music, I would do that. But in the meantime, while it's on YouTube, I'll just keep putting out these sampled instrumentals. and more tutorials of how to do other stuff that's very useful and helpful and that has to do with producing or video editing and all that good stuff. And I'm still working out for anybody that listened to my older uh episodes. I was lifting really heavy and improved my eating from September to January, was going strong. Put on about 17 pounds of muscle. Then I got sick. That put me out for about a week and a half. And then after that, I had a really hard time getting up because I was getting up at 6 in the morning every morning. Well, 4 days a week to go work out, then doing Insanity on Saturdays. And that just being sick because after I got back feeling good, the following week I had a sore throat again. Just jacked my schedule all up. So going into February, I haven't been lifting like I was before. Now I'm pretty much doing these strength training and cardio. I'm back to shredding now instead of trying to bulk. So I'm going to different classes. Still staying in shape, not as big as I was in December, but it's all good. Feeling good, looking good. So that's just an update on my body. And I'm going to go ahead and get on up out of here. Thanks for spending your time with me. And I will talk to you later. Be safe. This is on Monday. If you're still having bad weather this week, please be safe. And I'll talk to you later. Peace out.